And thank God, because and I had it on all day, and it was going, oh my God, we're doing this, we're here, because we.
How to Train Your Dragon brought Gerard Butler back as Stoick for the live-action remake, and many other original voice actors deserve to return to the franchise. Original voice actors rarely reprise their characters in live-action remakes. It typically doesn't happen in Disney's remakes, but that's primarily because many of the actors have either passed or are too old to play that character. However, HT2ID is a fairly new franchise, meaning many of those actors are still active and ready to go. The one actor who returned as their live-action counterpart was Butler, who played Stoick, Hiccup's father, and the chief of Burke. After seeing the film, Butler is perfect as Stoick, given that he nearly wasn't cast in the role. Butler has a booming, authoritative voice, and hearing Stoick without that classic Scottish accent wouldn't be the same. For the sequels, other voice actors could return to their respective roles or in other parts, giving them the gravitas they deserve. Here are 8 How to Train Your Dragon actors with hopes of returning in the upcoming films. Cate Blanchett is the most obvious choice for How to Train Your Dragon 2. The 2-time Academy Award winner lent her voice to Valka, Hiccup's mother, who was presumed to be dead in the first film. She returned in the sequel, revealing that she befriended dragons just like Hiccup and escaped Burke to protect them. She plays a significant role in the second film and appears in the third film, The Hidden World. She provides another emotional connection for Hiccup, and Blanchett delivers her motherly wisdom with the needed amount of sincerity and heart. She's a tough and relentless character, and Blanchett knows how to play those kinds of characters. Out of all the characters on this list, replacing Blanchett with someone else would be a baffling decision. It would be a massive win for DreamWorks to get an actor of this caliber attached to their next film. Director Dean DeBlois says the role will always be open for her, so hopefully she wants to reprise the role. Tennant voiced Spitelout, Snotlout's father, in the first How to Train Your Dragon. However, he didn't return for the live-action remake and was replaced by Peter Serafinowicz. Speaking with The Hollywood Reporter, director Dean DeBlois said he wanted to bring the actor back, but he felt Tennant wouldn't fit the role physically. David Tennant is such a talented actor, and I felt embarrassed that we didn't have a big enough role for him in the animated films. But the character that he played, Spitelout, who is Snotlout's father, is just such a big, brawny, large person that I didn't think David would physically be the right match for him. Maybe in the future we'll find the perfect role for him, but he's such an ingenious actor. Fortunately, there's another way to bring the Doctor Who actor back to the franchise. Tennant voiced a different character in The Hidden World, Ivar the Witless. While it's not a prominent role, it would be a cool cameo to see him return. He is a versatile actor and could bring a lot of personality to a seemingly forgettable role. Olafsson is an underappreciated actor who is finally getting more recognition thanks to his role as Mr. Drummond in Severance Season 2. His other notable roles can be seen in projects like Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and Murder Mystery. In The Hidden World, he voices Ragnar the Rock, one of the warlords who hired Grimmel the Grizzly to kill Toothless. Ragnar is a large, intimidating figure who demands an actor who carries the same presence. Olafsson fits the description and would translate the character to live action perfectly. Additionally, the actor is Icelandic and could bring some authenticity to the role and this universe. His size and strength made him menacing in Severance, and they are the exact characteristics needed for a villainous Viking. Unfortunately, Weig, 51, is too old to play Roughnut, one of the eccentric twins who trains with Hiccup, now played by Bronwyn James. Wig provided her trademark comedic timing and energy to Roughnut, and she could bring those qualities to a more villainous character in the other films. Griselda is another of the warlords who wants Grimmel to defeat Hiccup and Toothless. She has a small role, but that could easily be expanded if Wig portrayed her. Since she's a villain, the star could have more flexibility playing her, combining just the right amount of humor and menace. There's also an opportunity for a full circle moment since Griselda suggests feeding Roughnut to a dragon in The Hidden World. Watching Wig mock her own character would make her casting worthwhile. Kit Harington's Eret is a significant character first introduced in How to Train Your Dragon 2, Eret is a former dragon trapper who used to sell dragons to Drago before eventually befriending dragons and joining Hiccup. Harrington already has many of Eret's physical attributes, and he knows how to rock a fursuit thanks to his role as Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. The English actor is an excellent choice to reprise Eret, but it could also be a moment of redemption for the actor. Game of Thrones revealed that Jon Snow has Targaryen blood, giving him a strong connection to dragons. However, the show didn't develop this storyline enough, missing opportunities for Jon to connect with his heritage. HTTYD 2 could finally give him the epic dragon riding moment he deserves. Eret is an expert dragon tracker, but he learns from Hiccup how to ride and treat dragons respectfully. They may be more cartoonish than the dragons from Game of Thrones, but plenty of viewers would want to see Harrington ride dragons either in the next sequel or The Hidden World. One of the few changes made in the live-action HT2ID is Astrid's backstory. Astrid comes from a different tribe than Hiccup and doesn't have the same access to power that he has. Her parents aren't included in the film, and they are only briefly seen in the animated films during Hiccup and Astrid's wedding in The Hidden World. Ferrera, as Astrid's mother, could pass down her wisdom to her daughter, creating a surreal moment that audiences would appreciate. Since her heritage is more diverse in the live-action film, it opens the door for Ferrera to portray her mom. It would be a unique way to bring the actor back to the franchise while also adding more detail to Astrid as a character. Ferrera, as Astrid's mother, could pass down her wisdom to her daughter, creating a surreal moment that audiences would appreciate. Ferguson played Gobber the Belch in all 3 HTT films. Gobber is a loyal and longtime friend to Stoick, a talented blacksmith, and a valuable mentor to Hiccup. He's also responsible for training the next generation to fight dragons in the first film. While Gobber is in the live-action film, he's played by Hot Fuzz's Nick Frost, who lends his comedic talents to the role flawlessly. The Scottish comedian may not have returned as Gobber, but he would be ideal cast as Grimmel the Grizzly, the central antagonist in The Hidden World. Grimmel is a master dragon hunter whose main goal is to wipe out all existing Night Furies. With Toothless as the new alpha, a group of warlords hires Grimmel to kill him and free up their dragon poaching operations. Grimmel was voiced by F. Murray Abraham, but the 85-year-old actor is likely too old to perform many of the villain's movements in live action. Ferguson could fill the role admirably and would give Grimmel the snark and wit he has in the animated film. Still, it would be sad to hear his voice coming from a heartless monster rather than a sweetheart like Gobber. Drago is one of the most memorable villains in the franchise and will likely be the central antagonist in HTTYD 2. Drago is a vicious warlord whose primary goal is to conquer the world with an army combining humans and dragons. He has control of the Alpha, which means he can control all dragons. Drago is an intimidating foe, and his large stature is boosted by Honsu's voice. Honsu is a veteran actor who has been a part of many prominent franchises, including comic book films like Guardians of the Galaxy and Shazam. However, these films have either flopped or his character was killed off too soon. How to Train Your Dragon could finally give him the starring role he deserves, and I hope he returns to the franchise for the sequel.